Okay, this is an example experience that shows how to use the surface indicator widget and the information display widgets. I'm going to start with a simple experience. We've got a model here, model target of a car, and we're going to use the surface indicator to capture a collection of points on that car, but we're going to do this in steps. So we're going to describe various perhaps inspection steps, different parts of the car. Each time we create a step, we're going to define one or more points and associate them with the step. So how do we do that? Well, we've got our surface indicator widget which collects those points on the car, but we need to control some steps first. So we have a button here called New Step. We can see that this will basically auto-generate a step name, which is this widget here, which is actually an incrementer widget, so it just counts up by 1. And so this will take the clock, which increments, and it will call add step with a value which looks something like this. So it's going to be step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on. So that will automatically add a new step each time we press it with a name. And when that completes, we get an event, which is the service invoke complete here. So there's the step name going in, and when that completes, this will then increment that value. And the step value is then passed also to the, as a key, a parameter, to this indicator bucket that we have. And so the step name is going to be our tag, and we're going to collect some data associated with each point that we click, and we're going to tag it with the step. So we can have any number of steps that are tagged, any number of points that are tagged per step. And how this is sort of stored in ThingWorks, I have a step thing here which has the add step function that you saw before, so that just adds them into a data table. We have a surface indicator, an indicator thing that does the same thing, it adds these indicators as a data table. So let's take a look at this running. Here's our experience. We've got our car. Now the first thing you can notice is I can't press anything because I haven't created a new step. Let's just take a little look at that. You can see this flip-flop here. This basically sets the state of the indicator to disabled until we've added the first step. And as soon as we've added the first step, so we get that service invoke complete, then everything is enabled. So we go back into our experience, click New Step. Here we can see we're on step 1, and we can go in here and we can tap on a point. Now we can see the points are auto names. If I create another point, you can see it's 1001, 10,001, 10,002. So let's take a little look at that. So if we go to our surface indicator, we can see it's using the indicator labeler, which is another incrementer, and so that just automatically clocks up 10,001, 10,002, and so on. So that's the name property of the widget. The label property of the widget is driven by that incrementer there. So that's label. Obviously the tap point there on the screen is when I'm creating the positions, and every time I do that tap, this will call add indicator to add it to the data model. So let's just take a quick look at our steps. We've already created a step, so let's just look at the database here, get data entries. There's our step 1 that we created before, and we created a couple of points. So if we go and look at the indicator, again look at the just look at the data table entries here, we can see we've got a couple of points. Okay, and you can see they're each tagged with the step 1. Okay, so different points, same tag. Let's go back, we'll create another step, and let's put some points, let's just put some points on these glass panel. So we're going to create a point for every piece of glass that we can see. Okay, that's step 2. And step 3, maybe we'll put one on each of the bolts of the wheels here. Okay, so we got a collection of items there. We got 3 steps. Let's just again go back and confirm. First of all, that's what we can see. We got a number of points now. We can see we've got loads of points here, and we should also find we have 3 steps. There's our 3 steps. So that's the first part of the experience. So let's now go back and look at the second part, which is how do we play those backs. This one we're going to use a different widget. We're going to use the indicator widget. So here we have our, the information display widget. So the first thing we want to do is get our steps. So if we take a look at our ThingWorx data, we can get, just as you saw before, that get table entries. So when a model loads, this is called, and it gets all those items and it puts them into a repeater, a list here. You can see the list is just going to display the step name, so we should see a list step 1, 2, 3 here when this widget gets called. And the selected items, if we select from this list, it gives us the step name, which, if you remember, this was we were using this as the tag for our items. If we call get tagged indicators with that value, and we get all those items back, we can put those into the information display. So the information display is reading back a subset of the items based on the tag that we select, and then it will display them so we can see them. So it's very, very simple. Again, you can see there's no code. This is all just open widgets. So let's go back to our view here. We'll just go and look at the view. So there's our list of steps that we created before. That's dynamic, remember, so let's just pull that straight out of the database, and let's look at step 1. Here's the 3 points that we created for step 1. Let's look at step 2. So this was the glass, I believe, so we should see there's the items on the glass. We can't see them very well. You can see them without the car in the way. And if we remember, step 3 had them here on the wheels, so there they are for step 3. So very, very simple. You can see just a way of, by building up a data model inside of ThingWorx and then accessing it and using this model, it's very, very simple to build up these ideas. And finally, the clear button. This will purge all of the data. So we go back to our view here. The clear button, which is over here somewhere, this will purge the step, and then the step will purge the information, so it'll actually remove all the points, and then the points, when it's completed, will navigate us back to the original page. So let's just do that, and we clear it. You can see we navigate back to the first page, and if we take a look here at our steps, we find that they're all gone. And if we take a look at our indicators, we'll find that they're all gone, so we cleaned up after ourselves. So a very, very simple demo, and that is the end.